How are you? Michael Griffiths here, and welcome to this episode of the Business Connectors. I'm here with Fiona Golinelli from Retail
Hello.
First. We'll get to Fiona very shortly, but welcome and thank you for joining us on this particular episode. Hoping you've been following us along with the Business Connectors and really enjoying some of the great people that we've been bringing to you, but more importantly, also connecting with them and actually being able to say hello to them and talk to them, because this is what we do. We bring people together. And today, Fiona from Retail Force, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
So my background is actually quite varied and diverse. So I started in the finance industry, which, you know, for those people who have been in finance, either love it or hate it. And I realised very early on that my personality style wasn't suited to that industry. Decided to move into the recruitment industry because that was very big in the 80s. Very, demanding, very sales orientated. And then I moved into a specific sales and marketing role in the office equipment business.
Right.
So I spent 12 years there. Decided 4.5 years ago to have a career change and bring together my skill base into this business.
Lovely. And we'll get into that business very shortly.
Yes.
But I suppose like a lot of people these days who are going very much from the corporate background, doing things within corporate, going, hey, there's got to be more out there, and then obviously going into business for themselves, change of pace, change of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Different rewards that are part of that. So from being in that corporate background, what was it that you went, I need to change, or I need to be doing this instead? Was there a point in there? Because I'm sure we've got some people in here who have probably got the same background, who would love to know a bit more about that story.
Look, I've always been, my family have been business owners. Even in my early 20s, I had a second job, and I had a business at the Rocks Market for many years.
Right.
So I was working 7 days a week back then, so an employee Monday to Friday, and had my own business Saturday and
Nice.
Sunday. And realised very early on that, look, it's the scope, I believe, for creativity and to bring your own ideas to the table that sometimes the corporate market doesn't allow you to do.
Yep.
You sort of have to conform in a certain way. And if you don't have that, an employer that allows you to expand and share your own skills and knowledge and experience, then you could be stifled.
Yep.
So being a business owner allows you to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. So Retail Force.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Retail Force.
So I went down the retail path because 4.5 years when I set up the company, a lot of my clients were bricks and mortar businesses. And at the time, and even now, retailers are in a huge need of coaching and advising. So what I do is a lot more hands-on than a business coach. I act as their part-time general manager, but I actually have expanded to all industries, from wholesalers to online, startups, food manufacturing, as you know. So it's a wide variety of clients. But the Retail Force name has stuck.
Yep.
And it's a combination of many factors, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute.
Sure will. And certainly a big believer that generally a name doesn't, it's nice that you've got a brand and you've got a name, but it's also how you explain what you do to people, which is probably sometimes a little bit more important. Yeah. So I tend to call Fiona the outsourced general manager. So for those businesses that can't afford to be able to have a CEO or a general manager in there, then really having an outsourced general manager allows the same sort of benefits, allows you to be able to implement marketing plans, to be able to help with financials, to be able to ensure that the business plan is being attended to, and all of those plans are actually being implemented, where most business owners tend to get stuck working within the business, that they don't actually get to see all the plans and make sure all the plans take place. So why is that actually important? So why would you want an outsourced general manager, or why do we need all these plans actually being attended to?
So couple of ways I'll handle that briefly. It depends on what phase you are or what stage your business is at. So if you're in that first 3 to 4 years and going through that growth, you're doing absolutely everything. And for us who have been there, done that, we know exactly what it's about. You haven't had time to look at your financials and really understand them and look at your profit margins and set up your chart of accounts correctly. You may not really be doing enough proactive work to grow the business in the areas that you really want to target. You may want to bring on some staff, a staff member or a part-time staff member, don't know how to, haven't got time to recruit, all those other aspects. So at that stage, I think engaging someone like myself part-time is a huge benefit, because you've got a mentor, you've got a coach, you've got someone who actually, and I specialise in implementation, so I get the job done, because business owners are time poor. Very much time poor, and that's the benefit of bringing in someone part-time like myself. If you're at the next phase and your business is a lot more mature, and a lot of my clients have been in business 20 years, so they've also found that they just need a fresh perspective. They're still looking at the business emotionally, and the staff are, they've got staff in place and they're driving them insane. Whatever the reason, they just need someone to come in with a fresh approach and say, let's relook at the process we've put into place. A lot of my clients know exactly where they want to take the business. They just need sometimes that extra set of hands.
To help them do it.
Yeah, with the expertise to help them do it.
Yeah, perfect. Great. So, having worked with lots of businesses, having been able to see a lot of businesses, the mistakes, the trials and tribulations of it all, we've got plenty of listeners right now who are probably new in business themselves.
Yes.
What's something you can share with them in terms of, if you were just to focus on one thing for the next month, for the next quarter, what would that be if they're a business that's sort of either just started or is a little bit on a plateau, and it's what's one thing I might be able to do just to kickstart me again?
Be proactive.
Okay.
I think a lot of business owners are thinking that their website will bring them in their business. So that reactive attitude, oh yeah, we've got to go and try to meet more contacts, or develop more networks, or whatever that may be. You've just got to go and do it. And can I bring up two things?
Yes, please.
So be more proactive is one, and that we could elaborate for hours on that, which we won't. And the second thing is, don't try to be perfectionist at the beginning.
Nice.
Get business in the door, then review, improve, perfect as the business grows and develops, because then you've got the money to do it, you've got the experience, you've got the resources, you'll have infrastructure and people around you to help that. But I find so many people are trying to have this perfect little gem to launch, and we don't really know where their next customer's going to come from.
Yeah, good. So true. Big believer that all the little ducks don't line up. One duck always wants to get out of turn. So if you're a person that has to say, I've got to wait till all 6 ducks line up, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So fantastic. Very good. So we've seen each other at plenty of networking events before. We met through networking events.
Yes.
So again, for those listeners out there who might not be too sure about networking events or might not know really what to be able to do, what's a piece of advice that you could give them besides going out there and getting off their butt and doing it?
Look, it's interesting.
When they're at the event, what piece of advice could you give them?
It's interesting. Let me just give you a really quick story. I met with someone during the week, and she was saying, Fiona, I get sweaty palms, I stress, I honestly, it scares the living daylights out of me to actually go out there and attend a networking event for a better. And I said, look, the easiest way is come along with me. So find someone, not necessarily me in person, but find someone, find a buddy who is in business, or an employee who has got the right, attitude to actually go and meet new people. Buddy up with someone and just say, can you come and join me at a networking event, whatever that may be, Chamber of Commerce, whatever it may be. Just come along. Then you'll feel so much more comfortable. You'll have someone, obviously, to be there just to converse with, and it makes it so much easier. So if you're finding it difficult, partner up with someone.
Brilliant. Great advice. Certainly a lot easier to do things in pairs than by yourself, and I think
Always.
that's pretty much true in just about everything within business. Don't try to do things by yourself, do things with other people. So it's fantastic, and you've done really well to keep your answer's very short. Knowing Fiona as well as I do, Fiona could be talking to you for the next 4 hours. So she's done a remarkable job to make sure she's got her points over very quickly. So well done.
Thank you.
But thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Business Connectors. Please do find Fiona Golinelli on LinkedIn. Do connect with her. She would be more than happy to go to networking events with you too. So by all means, just send her a message of what you want to do, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to be there with you. But a great person to be connected to, got some great networks, and again, someone who's more than happy to be able to help you. So make sure that you find her on LinkedIn and you connect with her too, and check out what Retail Force does, because it really is quite a great business for people who can't afford a full-time general manager. Now, there's just one quick thing before we go that I forgot to include a bit earlier. You've got this great program at the moment called 20 in 12.
Correct.
So being able to grow your business by 20% in just 12 months.
Correct.
Do you want to quickly just share a little bit about that?
So it's a workshop. So what I've done is replicate what I do with a business owner on a one-on-one basis, and replicated that into 6 modules. They're fortnightly, so it allows us to implement the strategies that we're learning. And there's 6 different topics over a 12-week period. So you'll do a 2-hour session with me and a group of people. Very interactive workshop. Then we implement the strategies, start to implement the strategies. We check in again after 2 weeks, learn some new skills, implement. And
Brilliant.
so that gives you a fantastic overview of all the key principles.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Great. So we'll actually put some information underneath this particular video on that, so you can find out a bit more about 20 and 12 at the same time. Otherwise, thanks for joining us. Really looking forward to having you again on the next episode. Until then, have a great rest of the day and great week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.